I'm Shiona Blundell, and I'm the Executive Head of Sales for Cybrin, and I'm based in Johannesburg, South Africa. This webinar is a collaboration between Mango InfoSec, an authorized reseller partner of ours based in Accra, and ourselves. And I'm very excited about our theme of seamless onboarding for tomorrow's customer, as it's very topical in many of our regions at the moment. But first, for those of you that don't know who Cybrin is, let me give you a brief overview. Next, please, Barry. Cybrin was established 33 years ago, at the time with its head office in Zimbabwe. Today, our head office is based in Johannesburg, South Africa, and we have over 300 employees operating in 15 countries across the globe, with over 100 customers worldwide. We pioneered the first check truncation solution in Africa, which at the time was only the third solution of its kind in the world. So we have a long-standing pedigree in this environment and specifically on our continent. Next, please, Barry. As an African organization, we are invested in the sustainability of our continent, and we are passionate about financial inclusion. And from a Cybrin perspective, for us, financial inclusion doesn't just mean having a bank account. It means providing the people of our continent with access to meaningful solutions that empower and uplift their daily lives. A big part of that, from our perspective, is giving back to the countries in which we operate. And we believe that every country has its own requirements and nuances, and as such, we have a point of presence, either a fully fledged office or a support office in every region, in every region in which we operate. By hiring locally, we also ensure that our customers have people that understand the nuances within their environment, as well as creating jobs for individuals in those countries, thereby ensuring sustainability and growth. And after 33 years in business, to have a customer satisfaction rating of 87.3%, I think really attests to our commitment to partnering with our customers. Next, please. At a high level, I'm just going to give you a view of what our 5 key solution offerings are. So underpinning many of our solutions is our low-code platform, which is the key to any hyper-automation that our customers want to achieve. The Cybrin platform embeds workflow and case management methodologies to ensure seamless flows of critical business processes. We started our legacy in the payments and clearing space, and solutions in this portfolio include our Payments Hub, which is a centralized payments ecosystem that allows you to manage multiple payment types such as check, EFT, etc., in a single environment. We also run 3 of the automated clearing houses on our continent through our Switch Manager. Digital onboarding allows for seamless onboarding whilst ensuring compliancy to regulatory standards. This includes your full eKYC offering with the flexibility of a journey time builder that allows you to modify an end customer journey depending on what type of product you want to offer. This often includes our identity verification solution, although they are both modular offerings. And this is what we will be focusing on for today's webinar. Lastly, we have our fraud risk management solution, which ensures that anomalies and fraud risks are detected on an ongoing basis through our transaction monitoring solution. Next, please. Underpinning all of our solutions are our professional services team. They can assist from the design phase through to implementation and ongoing support. And with that, I'm going to hand over to Barry Fenter, our product owner for digital onboarding and identity, who is passionate about this topic. So looking forward to what he has to say. Over to you, Barry.
Thank you, everybody, and thank you for joining the webinar today. My name is Barry Fenter. I'm a product manager here at Cybrin. I look after digital onboarding, fraud risk management, identity verification, and transaction monitoring. Today, I'm taking you through specifically digital onboarding, or also otherwise known as digital account opening and maintenance. And these are the topics that I'll be covering today. I'm going to just do an introduction of what digital onboarding is. Then I'll do an overview of some key components that are used in digital onboarding. Then I'll also look at some modules of digital onboarding, and although these are not all the modules, it's the key ones that make digital onboarding possible. This would be liveness detection, facial matching, identity document capture and extraction, and document fraud detection. Then we'll also be looking at how does identity verification works with together with Ghana's central identity system. And I've also added a customer story at the end, so you can also see another customer that is using Cybrand's digital onboarding and what they've achieved with it. So let's start with an overview of digital onboarding in banking. And a short definition of it, and a simple definition of it, would be to say that digital onboarding is the process by which customers can open and verify bank accounts entirely online, or via kiosk or via an agent, without needing to visit a physical branch. This reduces friction, it improves accessibility, and it attracts a new generation of customers. Currently, there are some challenges in Ghana relating to traditional onboarding. There's excessive paperwork that needs to be filled in manually. There's long delays in processing as these documents need to move between different operators in the organization. There's accessibility gaps, and there's an inconsistent customer experience. But this brings up opportunities as well for digital onboarding in Ghana. It helps drive financial inclusion. It helps reach the unbanked population. It helps the bank expand the market reach for customers. And it's an enhanced regulatory compliance versus doing it manually. So let's have a look at liveness. Liveness and selfie capture, and comparing that the selfie against a third party is crucial when doing digital onboarding. It helps and it ensures that the person that is physically present, and it uses and captures its biometric, the person's biometric, to verify against a third party database, making sure that ultimately regulation is also in place. How does this work? Firstly, the user captures a selfie using their mobile device or web camera. Then the system performs liveness detection, which could be active or passive, or a combination of both of them, just to confirm that the user is physically present and alive. After that, the selfie is then used for facial comparison, firstly against the ID, the picture that's on the ID of the person, and secondly against a third-party database. And verification takes place, and this generally happens between 3 and 6 seconds. Then a person is asked to capture their ID, and the system then automatically extracts their ID. Additionally, the system also checks that the ID is not a fraudulent ID, which is a section that I'll cover after this. Let's have a look at how that works. The person captures or uploads their ID. There's the ability to capture the ID either via your webcam or via your mobile phone, or you could just upload the ID and image processing happens. And basically, during image processing, we're making sure that the captured ID is in the best possible state for extraction, and we make sure it's readable. We perform some auto cropping of the face, the document, and the signature that's on the ID. After that, we'll use our technology, which is a combination of OCR and machine learning technologies, to extract the relevant data from and image from the ID. After that, we perform data parsing, and then we use that information to verify it against the third-party database. These are the types of IDs that can be captured. It could be an ID book, a passport, a smart ID, or a driver's license, or a Ghana card. That is the identification of Ghana. After we've captured the ID identification document, we will then perform a few techniques to ensure that the identification document is not a fraudulent one. And this is how that works. The image is provided to our machine learning model. We'll do some metadata analysis, and this is where we basically analyze the metadata of the submitted image for any inconsistencies or anomalies. And we do stuff like file type verification, metadata presence check, device information. We look at the device's information, We look at any modification flags that was done to the file. Is there any date consistency on the files or any file type consistency? We'll do some additional, more advanced fraud document checks as well, like to check if the document was photocopied or scanned. We also look at the security zones that are on the document to see if there's anything out of place. We'll check if the document is physically tampered with, and we also check if the document was captured on a separate screen, meaning the document isn't physically with the person when they scanned the document. We also look at digital tampering of the document. Once all of that's fine, we'll do verification of all of these components, and if anything's wrong with it, we'll alert, and inside the system, you can deal with the exceptions of these documents. So a physical human can eyeball the document and make sure that the document is fraudulent or not fraudulent. So let's look at the role of Ghana's central identity system in identity verification. Ghana's central identity system is managed by the NIA, or the National Identification Authority. And basically, it's a governmental database that holds the identity information of Ghanaian citizens and residents. It holds information like biometric data, demographic data, fingerprints of a customer, facial data of a customer, and other personal identifiers like the national ID number of that customer. And it holds the information in order to verify against it via API. So it's a centralized and trusted data source that we integrate with, and it assures compliance with national regulations of identity verification in Ghana. So how does this process work of verifying an identity against the NIA? Once the customer's identity is captured, we take the biometric data and the data that we've extracted from the ID, and we cross-check this data with the NIA from a central system. And in there, we'll do biometric matching with our face compare technology and check any of the metadata that's on the ID if it's the same on the NIA. And that is a real-time verification. This can happen between 30 and 60 seconds. And then let me end with a customer story. One of our customers that used Cybrance digital onboarding had a total amount of accounts opened through their branch channel and some of their agent channel. In 2023, they opened 5,616 accounts in total. They went live with Cybrance in February 2024, and they went live with Cybrance digital onboarding within two channels. The first channel they went live with is their web channel. So this is where you go onto the bank's website and you want to open up an account. And the second channel that they went live with is their agent channel. So these are agents employed by the bank that go into the community and sign up customers. They went live with it in February 2024, and by June 2024, they already had accounts opened that were active and they were funded of 13,882, which is a huge amount more than they did in the year before. It's almost 3 times as much, and this was only half-year results for 2025. Some stats around the 13,882. In fact, there was over 19,000 customers that actually went onto these two channels to open up account, and only 13,882 of them was active and actively used and funded, which is a very good amount of that 19,365 accounts that was opened. That is revenue generating accounts for the bank. And if we project for the year 2025, we're projecting a 600% increase in sales for this customer. So here you can see it. Digital onboarding really works. It brings it brings to the bank a new generation of customers, and it increases sales for the customer, ultimately making the bank more successful. And that's my presentation for today. Just back to you, Shiona.
Thank you, Barry. Barry, there's just a couple of things I would like to understand from, the digital onboarding component. Obviously, on our continent, there are low latency environments where, internet connectivity is not always so great. How does the solution deal with those types of environments?
Yes, that happens often, Shona, specifically in African environments, specifically very rural environments, where network isn't always as stable as you would expect it to be. So our components works completely offline. So your liveness works offline, your ID capture works offline, and the whole journey of the whole process can actually be done offline. And when the person then moves back into a network area, those details are then sent for verification against the NIA. So this is how we deal with low latency solutions.
Okay, excellent. And I'm assuming from a bandwidth perspective then, so does it automatically connects when you're back in Signal? Is that correct? And you can do everything offline? Or could you
Yes.
do everything in online as well?
Yeah. So it can do everything offline, and the data that's being captured is kept offline in an encrypted format. And the moment the user's cell phone or internet goes back onto into an area where they are connected again, then the data is then forwarded onto the main server where the verification happens and so on. So that's how it works offline. I hope that answers Shona.
It does. Thank you very much. Barry, you said something really interesting there as well around, the encryption of the data. I mean, considering that this speaks directly to eKYC and from a compliancy perspective, there are a number of vendors that are out there that have solutions that play in this space. How many of these are regulated or governed from a certification perspective? Is there a certification body, and how does the solution comply or adhere to those?
Yes, there's multiple certification bodies, Shona. Our solutions are certified by NIST and IBETA. And this means that a third party has tested our solution. A third party has tested our solution against a large data set of different cultures and races and religions, and have found it to be accurate to protect against spoofs. So these are false identities trying to sign up for an account, and it's within limits of the international standard for it. Additionally, I also wanted to add that our data set that we use to train our models are a data set of African descent. That means that we use mostly African ethnicity data from our customers that's consented by those customers to train this model. So our model is, in my view, the most accurate model on African faces.
Okay, and that's really good to know. Thank you, Barry, because I think a number of solutions are models are trained on sort of European and Western ethnicities, which they don't always work well on our continent, and that's what you're saying.
That's correct, Jono.
Okay, so that's really good to know, because that's, I think, quite unique. Barry, one of the other things that I wanted to ask was just around, from an identity verification perspective, there are a number of different modalities, right? Such as whether you're doing facial recognition or fingerprint recognition, etc. Now, these modalities are constantly changing and being updated in line with certification requirements, but also in line with, criminal attacks and deepfakes and spoofing in this space. How does Cybrin deal with that from a modality perspective?
So Cybrin is able to work with fingerprints as well. So you can, I know in the Ghana market, fingerprints is very prevalent, but there's an active move towards facial recognition, because the customer experience is a lot better when it comes to facial recognition. So if you do need fingerprint recognition, yes, Cybrin can provide that. But in my view, and with the experience that I've had with our customers, I see facial recognition really taking the forefront, just because it's very easy to use and everybody loves taking a selfie of themselves. So the adoption of digital onboarding is just so much better when you use facial recognition versus fingerprint recognition.
Okay, great. And then so on the facial recognition perspective, I mean, there's you mentioned the selfie a couple of minutes ago. Can you also just please explain to me the difference between active and passive liveness verification, and which is better suited to which environment?
Yes. Active liveness is when you take the selfie and there are prompts that tell you to turn your head left or wink or open up your mouth and turn your head right and so on. So the person that is performing the liveness test needs to do a couple of actions. Okay. And that's active liveness detection. Then we also have passive liveness detection. Passive liveness detection requires the person to do no movements in order to do spoof detection and check if the person is alive. We use a combination of it, but the person still does not have to do a movement that's on the screen. The reason we do it in such a way is we found specifically in the active liveness area that users sometimes get confused. Their mobile might say turn your head left, but that's not necessarily their left. They might turn it right, and so on, everything else. So it's a little bit confusing from a user experience perspective. Hence, when you use the Cybran liveness detection, there is no prompts to the customer. They basically take a selfie as if they're taking a selfie when they're on a trip or when they're on holiday or just when they're in their home. It's like taking a normal selfie as they would normally take before they put it on social media.
Okay, so from a client journey perspective, the client experience is a lot better, you're saying, with passive versus active.
Yes, and that's the key here. As in our areas, it has to feel as if the client experience is important. Otherwise, you will not have adoption from a digital onboarding perspective. So you need to make the experience as if they are just taking a selfie for social media, which in any way used to. So client experience is everything when it comes to digital onboarding.
Okay, great, Barry. So really interesting point around that, because I think client experience, particularly when you're doing self-service capability, is critical. And one of the things that, we spoke about prior to this webinar was that journey time builder, and the different journeys you can build with the solution depending on what type of journey you want the client to take. Because mostly what we see is it's stock standard, whether you're applying for, you're trying to open a credit card or applying for a home loan, it's the same. Karuma, thank you. I see do we have address verification included into the solution? Yes, we can do address verification and local-based services. So happy to send you additional information on that. I just wanted to add whilst I'm waiting for any additional questions, the fact that the solution is modular is really great. So where certain people do have, for instance, might have a liveness, their own liveness provider, but they are looking for that digital onboarding piece, including the eKYC, which we can include sanction and PIP and PEP screening. We've got an end-to-end offering, but it is modular. We also work with any service providers that you may have in the space. Certain things around like credit bureaus, for instance, where you're looking at wanting to do a credit check because somebody's wanting to apply for a credit card. So we can integrate into any solution providers that you already have. Or we would create those within every region in which we operate separately from a specific client anywhere if that was a requirement. So I hope you guys have found the session useful. Really appreciate the time today, and I believe Midasi is in order. So thank you all very, very much, and we will be sending through the information from today's webinar shortly. Thank you, everybody. Bye.